Well, hi guys, and Jester Bell is here, and I've been saying that I wanted to get away from these sort of news report videos, but the news that came out was big enough that I really had things that I wanted to say about it, and so here we are, a video on my thoughts on the Henry Cavill out as Superman situation that is going on at DC. Now, I expected this 100%. So it wasn't a shock to me. I did feel a sense of relief that the back and that the back and forth over Henry Cavill is over now. I do agree that this was a terrible. It's been some terrible PR from Warner Brothers, but let's talk about this and get my entire thoughts on it. I know that there are a lot of people who are angry right now over the situation that has happened and are saying they're done with DC and all that. But let me explain my perspective on it and give you guys who might be angry at the decision some perspective on it. So I agree with you guys that Henry Cavill was perfectly cast as Superman, and I agree that he was given the raw end of the deal with some very bad directing and very bad movies. However, I was saying that about 5 years ago. Since then, it's been a real back and forth where they kind of want to get rid of Superman, but they kind of don't. They'll show like everything except his face in Shazam. They will. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering over my own words already. They'll say they'll bring him back in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then he won't be coming back. They have been putting up Man of Steel 2 for a very long time. Then he comes out in the biggest one, Black Adam, and then he disappears. And then there was talk that there was no confirmation, actual contract that he was going to come back. So it's been back and forth for years. But just going back to the movies he was a part of, somebody texted me. I'm sorry, this is a very quick video, but look guys, Man of Steel was awful. I know that there are Snyder stans who are going to scream at me. Man of Steel was awful. Batman vs. Superman was awful. Justice League bombed and was awful, and I disagree with people who think it bombed just because of Joss Whedon. I think it bombed because of the lead-in with Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman being so bad. Mainstream audiences were turned off at that point. All the Snyder stans went to see the Justice League and made up that big box office opening it had because they were curious. It didn't bomb because Joss Whedon, it bombed because of the lead-up to it. So you have a messed up universe, we all know that, messed up with how they handled Superman. No, it was not Henry Cavill's fault. Henry Cavill has been campaigning for years, really endearing himself to fans, to bring himself back, and there's been this big back and forth. I expected a long time ago that Cavill was out because the movies weren't successful, but he kept kind of sort of being brought back and then let go just because of his own campaigning and the very passionate fans. But for me, I was like, I just want this universe, story-wise, to be rebooted because they've messed up the foundation so much by having Zack Snyder take over. That's what I really wanted. Now, here's where the really bad PR from Warner Brothers comes from. The fact that they allowed Dwayne Johnson to act like Superman was back, and Henry Cavill, because at that point I thought that Henry Cavill was kind of being let go. That seemed really clear, whether everyone liked that or not. But then Dwayne Johnson brings him back for a cameo at the end of Black Adam to try to boost the box office, and Henry Cavill is out there announcing and preaching that he is finally back as Superman to essentially campaign for himself to come back, but it didn't work out. James Gunn and other sources confirmed that Cavill didn't actually have a contract, so he wasn't actually set in stone for him coming back, especially since Black Adam itself bombed, proving that just announcing Henry Cavill as Superman being in it was not enough. So I know that people are angry about this decision, but I want you to consider something. There are the hardcore DC fans who live on the internet and are constantly following this stuff and constantly advocating for things to happen, like having Henry Cavill back as Superman. And then there's the silent majority, there's the layman, there's the regular person who is not constantly paying attention to that stuff. The regular average Joe who makes up most of the box office does not care if Henry Cavill comes back as Superman. The big IP that's recognizable is Superman, and if you can sell that to the general public if they're interested in the movie. General public did not like Snyder's vision. They did not continue to show out for that direction. And they are not going to care if somebody else is playing Superman in a new movie. However, if Henry Cavill is playing Superman in a new universe, then the general public is going to go, oh wait, wasn't he Superman in the previous films in Batman v Superman? What's happening? Is this the same universe? And trust me, the average Joe is not going to even bother to look it up on the internet to find out and flesh it all out. It's the DC nerds who follow all this stuff who can keep track. It's not the average person. And you have to consider that average person. They're not obsessed with these movies. They're not constantly talking about it. They're not following everything. They want to be fed entertainment. They don't want to pursue entertainment, if that makes sense. Which is why, as much as it's bad for Henry Cavill, and I feel bad for this whole situation, it's why it makes sense, if you are wanting a fresh start, to get a new actor to play Superman. And I think that the actor that they do get for him is going to have a bad time. He's going to get hate for himself over this situation from the internet fans again. I think it's probably going to be a no-name that they're going to get. I don't think of anybody in the A-list that could possibly play him right now. But that's unfortunate. So my opinion on it is, I think that it's the right move to reboot everything. But I think that Warner Brothers has just had such bad PR up to this point that that's part of the reason why people are so angry. They were literally led their hopes up to this point that Henry Cavill was going to be back and then to crush them again. Some people are saying they're just abandoning DC. And I'm like, well, most people have already done that because of this messed up stuff. But before I sign off, let me talk about the future. Before everybody gets mad at me, let me explain. I am a more casual Superman fan. I do like Superman. I enjoy that content. I know what I want from it. But I am not a die-hard, hardcore Superman fan where I am super invested in what's happening to him. I'm a Batman person. That's what I'm about. So going forward with the future of the universe, I'm more concerned of what's going to happen with Batman, just me personally, and those characters than anything else. It really seems like the JL of the original DC is going out. The big question people have, though, is the Suicide Squad going to stay around? And I say that if the JL is gone, so should the Suicide Squad, because it was what I was talking about before, that if you keep one character, one major character from the old universe in the new one, then the average layman is going to associate this new universe with the old one. That's just how it's going to be. So, for example, Viola Davis, Amanda Waller, someone who worked with James Gunn, she interacted with Henry Cavill, or sort of did. She was the one who brought him back to fight Black Adam at the end of that movie. Viola Davis also interacted personally with Ben Affleck's Batman, who is now gone as well. Viola Davis interacted with Margot Robbie's Harley, who also interacted with Ben Affleck's Batman, who also was in Batman v Superman and interacted, I'm really tripping over my words, interacted with Henry Cavill. So you see how it's all connected in a way, and that's part of the reason why the Suicide Squad didn't bring in as many people as it could have in streaming at the box office, because people were very confused of where that movie was in the canon, because of how vague they were about, there's these characters that are from Suicide Squad, which made a lot of money, but it's not really referencing anything in that continuity. And James Gunn was a part of that film. He should realize that that was part of the problem of why that movie did not sell for people, is that there has been a confusion behind the scenes of what is in continuity and what is not. And personally, if DCU Batman, according to Matt Reeves, is going to be separate for now, then don't have Harley, who has not been selling in her own movies, completely ostracized from the Batman universe now. She should be in the Batman universe. You shouldn't hold on to Margot Robbie, who hasn't been selling in movies, just because James Gunn is partial because he worked with those people. You need a full-on page one reboot. And I hope that's what we're getting. I'm pleased so far that we're getting a new, brighter Superman movie. But it depends if James Gunn sticks the landing in the future. And I think that if he continues cherry picking as the DC universe has done, then he's going to continue on in the try to please everyone, you please no one situation. If you get rid of some actors like Henry Cavill, but keep others, even though they haven't been working out at the box office either. So those are my thoughts on what's going on with DC. What do you guys think in the comments below? Are you just done with DC? Once again, let me know what you think, and I will see you guys next time.